most dangerous prison in the world is believing you need no one. And deep inside a frozen valley lived a wolf who learned this too late. Kael was not born cruel. Life made him that way. As a cub, he watched weaker wolves abandoned during harsh winters. He watched trust break, promises fail, loyalty disappear the moment survival became difficult. So Kael made a silent vow: need nobody. And over the years, that vow became his identity. He hunted alone, walked alone, slept beneath storms alone. The forest feared him, not because he growled the loudest, but because his eyes carried something colder than violence: detachment. While other wolves laughed beside rivers, Kael climbed frozen cliffs in silence. While packs shared food during difficult seasons, Kael survived on instinct and distance. And for a long time, it worked. Until the winter that changed everything. That year, the valley froze earlier than usual. Rivers turned to glass. Trees stood lifeless beneath heavy snow. Even the wind felt sharp enough to cut flesh. Food disappeared. Animals grew desperate. But Kael still refused help. One evening, while chasing a wounded deer across the northern cliffs, he ignored the warning signs beneath his paws. Crack. The ice shattered instantly. Kael crashed into a frozen ravine below. His body slammed against stone. Pain exploded through his leg. For several seconds, he couldn't breathe. Snow drifted slowly from above as he forced himself upward. He tried climbing. Again. 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 But every attempt ended the same way, falling back into the freezing darkness. Hours passed. The cold began creeping into his bones. For the first time in years, fear entered his mind. Not fear of death. Fear of dying unseen. Alone. The storm above grew stronger. Kael looked toward the narrow opening high above him. And for the first time in his life, the wolf who trusted nobody silently wished someone would come. Then, footsteps. A shadow appeared above the ravine. Rowan, an older wolf from a nearby pack. A wolf Kael had mocked many times before. Their eyes met in silence. Kael expected judgment. Instead, Rowan disappeared. The darkness returned. Kael lowered his head. Of course. Why would anyone help him? But minutes later, multiple footsteps echoed above. Several wolves appeared carrying branches and thick vines between their jaws. They worked together without speaking, building a path, risking themselves, for a wolf who would never have done the same for them. Kael stared in disbelief, and something inside him began to break. Not his body. His pride. With immense effort, Kael climbed out of the ravine. The moment he reached the surface, his legs collapsed beneath him. But no one laughed. No one reminded him of his arrogance. The pack simply carried him home. For weeks they fed him, protected him, waited while he healed. No conditions, no debt, no humiliation, only quiet kindness. And strangely, that kindness hurt more than the injury itself. Because Kael realized something terrifying. All these years he had called isolation strength, when in reality it was fear. Fear of disappointment. Fear of betrayal. Fear of needing someone who might leave. One night, while firelight flickered against the cave walls, Kael finally spoke. His voice was quieter than it had ever been. "Why did you save me?" Rowan stared into the flames for a long moment before answering. "Because survival is not the same as living." Silence filled the cave. But this time, Kael did not run from it. Months later, travelers crossing the valley noticed something unusual. The infamous lone wolf no longer walked ahead of everyone. He walked beside them. Still strong, still dangerous, but no longer empty. Because the strongest creatures are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who learn that allowing others into your life is not weakness. It is what makes survival worth something at all. Life lessons. Isolation can feel like protection, but slowly become emotional imprisonment. Many people call it strength when they are actually afraid of being hurt again. Real maturity is not refusing help. It is accepting connection without losing yourself. A person surrounded by nobody may survive, but survival alone is a very empty victory. And maybe that is the real tragedy of life. Not being abandoned by others, but convincing yourself you never needed them to begin with. So now I want to ask you something. Have you ever pushed people away simply because you were afraid of getting hurt again? Tell me in the comments. And if this story meant something to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after they end.